To police officers, being out there on the streets means to be able to see something new or unexpected. A guy running with a pitchfork over his head or Chewbacca driving a car are just a few examples, and yes, both of those are things that have actually happened. Today's story, however, is not related to an unusual event, but rather a pretty common one, where a police officer ended up breaking down in tears after arresting a woman for driving over the speed limit and finding out what she had in her trunk. It was a night like any other. New Mexico State Police Officer Toby Lafave was driving on the freeway when he noticed a gold Cadillac going 96 miles per hour down Interstate 40. As it was expected, the officer pulled the driver over on the Unser off-ramp to then realize there was a little girl unbuckled in the front seat. Alarmed by the situation, Officer Lafave asked the driver, who happened to be a woman named Yvonne Euchstein, what she was thinking driving like that. The woman, who apparently was okay, responded by saying, "I was scared." So the officer asked the reason why. Now, we would have understood if Miss Euchstein had replied by saying she was being chased by some lunatic and all she was trying to do was get home to save her 6-year-old niece and herself, but her response was completely different. Miss Euchstein looked at the officer and told him she was scared of the freeway in which she was driving over the speed limit and weaving through traffic. Such answer could only mean one thing: the woman was under the influence. Either that or she was trying to make fun of the officer, which wasn't the case. Now, here's the thing. Officer Lafave is not just a regular officer. He's known for stopping DUI offenders more than anyone else on the force. In fact, just in September last year, he made his 100th DUI arrest, and to this day he continues to keep the roads safe from drunk drivers. His reputation is so big that he's even been named Officer of the Year on 2 different occasions by a non-profit organization called Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So, as you can understand, recognizing a situation in which a person is under the influence was not a challenge for him. During the 6 years he's been working with the police, he's seen everything when arresting DUI offenders. However, this particular case had an overwhelming emotional effect on the officer, to the point that he ended up breaking down in tears. After realizing Miss Euchstein was not in her right senses, he asked her to step out of the car, which she had trouble doing. Then the officer proceeded to interrogate the woman until she interrupted by saying, "You were behind me." It was clear Miss Euchstein needed to be transported to the police station, where she and her niece were going to be okay. During the interrogation, the female driver told the officer she'd been at a concert and was going back to her place. In addition, the woman, who could not stand on her own, started walking towards her car to check on her niece. After doing it, she said, "I think she's scared." Officer Lafave replied to the comment by saying, "Yeah, I'm sure she is. I'd be afraid, especially the way you were driving. I'd be afraid too." He then began to test Miss Euchstein in many different ways, but the young woman failed to pass all the tests. In one of them, she had to do something as simple as following a light, but unable to do it, she looked at the officer and said, "I can't." "Why can't you?" asked the officer, to which the woman replied by saying she was intoxicated. At this moment, there was nothing else that could be done, so Officer Lafave proceeded to arrest the woman and put her in his patrol car. As he was walking towards the woman's car, the dash cam on the police unit recorded how he broke down in tears when finding out there were strollers in the trunk. Officer Lafave was speaking with someone on the phone about picking up the 6-year-old kid that was with Miss Euchstein when she was pulled over, but after seeing the strollers, he choked up and said, "God, it breaks my heart." In the footage, it can also be seen how the officer wipes his tears as he goes back to his patrol. Now, we don't know if the strollers in the trunk meant Miss Euchstein had toddlers waiting at home, but if that was the case, we understand why Officer Lafave broke down in tears. Finally, the irresponsible behavior of the female driver ended up causing her to be charged not for only drunk driving, but also child abuse. She later struck a plea deal on the DUI charge on October 20th, 2017, and is now free. Now tell us, what do you think would have been a right punishment for this woman?